So welcome formally to the America's Coaching Supervision Network meeting. We meet every month. So for the new participant, Krista, welcome. I don't know if anybody else is the first time coming today. I was asking before. We have been meeting for 8 years. Lily, I think that Tatiana, you have been with us a couple of times. I think this is the third time that you're joining us over the 8 years. And so it's great to have you back. And with Lily, we are organizing the 8th annual conference coming up in April 11 and 12. We will give you more details at the end of the session today, but we hope everybody can participate and join us. And I know Tatiana is also organizing a conference with Oxford Brooks in May.
Yeah.
So there are many opportunities to keep learning together. And Tatiana, it's great to have you back. I am sure that most of you know who Tatiana is. She's one of the leaders, pioneers of the coaching supervision worldwide. She wrote several books. I'm sure most of you have been trained as supervisors with her books. I did at CSA with Sam many years ago when we went through our supervision training with Lily. And we use it also in our training. So Tatiana, it's great to have you back. We were talking before we started the session about how today in the Financial Times there is an article about chatbots and coaching. So I am going to share with you the link. And I don't know if anything else, Tatiana, you want people to know before we start.
No, thank you, Damian, thank you. And lovely to be back to your society or network or whatever you call it. And it's supervisors, so it's a special people for me. It's so lovely to see everyone who wants to hear something about all these big things that is going on in the field. And I also want to say, people probably know that I like actually conversation. I typically like people sort of to chip in, to have a discussion in the middle. But this time I might actually be slightly different, okay? Because this is my latest thinking. So I want to get it off my chest. So let's just see how it will go. Although I do have a couple of discussion questions in the middle, but let's see how it will be with time, and then we will talk at the end all together. Okay, I hope it's all right with you. And probably because I already said that I want to get it off my chest. Okay? You know that it is the sensitive topic, and interestingly enough, I was sort of reacting to it. I was writing about it already various places. But this time, I think I really recognize what the problem is. Okay, that's why I want to share it with you as supervisors, because we do have a particular role in relation to that. So let me just share my screen, and then we will deal with that. So you can see already that I put this label created with human intelligence. And I actually strongly suggest for you to use it as well, whatever you produce, okay? I think it matters nowadays. And this is what I want us to discuss today. Is AI really about democratizing coaching service? What is really going on? What is the threat to coaching service as we know it? And is there anything that we can do as supervisors? Okay. So these are my questions. And first of all is just to say probably something what is on the back of your mind. Is there any threat to supervision being replaced by AI? And my view is no, okay, in a direct sense, because there is a very simple and kind of even cynical reason for it, because there is no money in it, okay? And there is no market for it. So it means that your job probably won't be replaced, but it might be replaced in a different way. Because its coaching could be replaced by AI. And if it's a coaching that is replaced by AI, that you become sort of irrelevant in any way, okay? Because unless you want to become what they call now content moderators, okay? Someone who is actually working with text, okay? And now, why it matters to us, okay? Because I strongly believe that supervisors have an important function of being the guardian to our professions. And we also, as a supervisor, have a quite unique and important perspective on the integrity of our service. And we also have means, okay, human means of actually influencing coaches, okay, if we don't mind using those means. Okay. Now, let's just look, it's actually at the threat to coaching. And there are two conversations, replacing or augmentation that people talk, which I think the main threat is not about augmentation. Okay? So if it's just helping coaches to use more AI, again, it's not a big threat. It's a benign kind of development. There is little money in that because big organizations, developers of AI, they don't care about helping us, okay? And then the money is in replacing coaching. And that is already happening, I'm afraid. Okay. However, this talk is mainly about the role of us, okay? We play in the whole process of trying to replace coaches. Okay. And that's what I want us to think about today. Right. So let's start with the real reason. What are the real reasons for AI revolution? Okay. Because probably when the revolution happens, okay, there is a reason for that. Okay. And the reason is something that there is a problem and that problem needs to be solved. Okay. But I think there is no actual reasons for replace coaching. Or there are lots of issues, but AI doesn't solve the problems that we have. Okay, and typically what we hear, it will democratize it. Okay, it will be more available, but I don't think it is real democratization. Okay, it's what I call in some other paper enshittification, because it's reducing this. It presents itself as coaching, but it's not coaching at all. Okay. So the real motivation for forcing AI into coaching is actually hidden from us. And I think there is a reason for that, because it doesn't serve clients, it doesn't serve coaches, it doesn't serve us, okay, but someone else. And that is the problem. But at the same time, although people say nothing you can do about that, I think we do contribute, unfortunately, to this process. Okay? And I will make a case for it. So, but let's just try sort of why we might contribute to it. Is it because we are sort of obsessed with something that is so new? Okay. We are, in this case, are bombarded with these messages that if you are on board, you will be replaced, and you need to go with everything new. So it's a more or less like hysterical convincing how amazing AI is. And that could be sort of one reason as fear. If coaches are not using it, that we are no good. But on the other hand, coaches often are even proud to be at the cutting edge of new ideas and technologies. So it's a second reason, okay? Fear and pride, even, I would say. However, in relation to that newness, what I would like to say that it's the new shouldn't be justified just because it's new. Okay, the new for the sake of new is not good. Okay, it has to be justified by the ends, because we don't live by newness alone. And strictly speaking, I even will make an argument later on that AI is only superficially new, if we really think about that. It might be new in terms of the means, but actually based on the old. So, or maybe we just genuinely believe that there is nothing to be worried about. And because it's sort of happening slow and in a subtle way, we might actually simply get used to it. Okay. And by the way, just before I say that, I want to say that I'm not really worried about robotics. Okay, for example, these amazing machines they do, like say keyhole operations in medicine. Okay, AI is actually successful in my view, and it's Floridi. I use them as well. He's the philosopher of technology and ethics. Okay? It's because when it doesn't try to mimic people. When it doesn't try to mimic people, it is successful. It is the obsession of developers trying to look at like human, or to be like human. And that is often the issue. But Floridi also gives a very important argument as well. He said, AI shows to be successful. But why? Because we have been transforming the world into increasingly AI-friendly environment. He says that it's a world that is adapting to AI, not vice versa. Okay. And for that reason, it is technology, and especially AI, that constrained us to adapt to them. We are changing. We become more like information machine, just data sets. Okay. And the same in relation to coaching, we could say. We become more kind of confined to infosphere, becoming just providers of information, more mechanized, more computerized, and coaching becomes more like individual training. Okay. So what are these real actual signs of progress as discussed by AI developers? And this is, I'm using information from the fantastic book by Shannon Waller, because she says that US and UK are the most technologically advanced countries, but what we see, evidence of rising mortality, decline in expected lifespan and public health, growing political polarization and dysfunction, the degradation of democratic norms and ideas, rising economic inequality, declining social mobility. And we do see it. Right. And also one big thing is technologies on the whole actually increase inequality. And a lot of people now talk about that, and it's important, okay? Because many developments, technological development in particular, are driven by market forces with very little considerations of the long-term consequences. Okay. And this is another kind of obvious things that for us, okay? The machine concentrate the power to the top, okay? Because technology supposed to say that it will increase our power, it's our freedom, but who benefits mostly from them? It's tech billionaires, okay? And because they already have resources to benefit from them. So this is kind of machine concentrating power to the top. It's a sort of hidden agenda of the acceleration AI in the world. And they describe it as the most important things, okay? Because it's they who are the winners right now in the world. And they define what should be named as progress. And as a result, what is happening, at scale, I would say nowadays. It's removal of agency from the actual people, okay, and make us sort of more effectively disadvantaged and oppressed. And of course, they talk about ethics, but let's just think about that, okay? Sorry, I lost you for some reason. When we think about the ends, okay, what everything is for, we mean what matters to us most, okay? There is a difference between means and ends, okay? And what matters to us is what matters essentially, what matters in the long term, so we talk about the values. And in this regard, is fully rooted in the value. Oops, did I miss one? I was going to talk about the ethics. Yes, sorry, I missed it. Okay, missed the slides. So when the AI developers talk about ethics, okay, they actually like AI engineers. So they are trained to be ethical, but they are trained in a restricted way. Okay, mainly their ethics involve conversation about competence and personal integrity, like confidentiality and things like that. So these standards are no longer sufficient because they are not about the ends. Okay? They are simply about the means. They require now, the most important conversation, require uncommon moral and political expertise. So, and from all of us, it requires willingness to engage with that, readiness to engage with that, and opportunity even. Okay? So now let's look at actually what are those ends, okay? Because as I said already, when I missed the slide, that what matters to us most is those ends, okay? And in this regard, the AI is fully rooted in the values of the past, a past that doesn't work. And this is kind of metaphorically, we could say that we look at the present through the rear view mirror. We march backwards into the future. And what I kind of mean by that, and then using also valor, okay, is if you look how the AI, and particularly generative AI, are dealing, what they are dealing with, they are giving us information that was collected a long time ago. So it's an information based on the past values, on the past information, on the past engagement with that. So it is actually not discriminating at all. So what these large language models are doing practically, they are reshuffling that information and present it in a summarized way, in a sort of more efficient way. Because the complexity is only on kind of on the means. But the complexity is actually of what we are dealing with on a bigger level. It's requires us to recognize that and reconsider the values. It's like one of my favorite quote that I use in relation to complexity. There is no point of being efficient in doing the wrong task. And that's what I believe is AI is doing. And by the way, in a similar way, AI coaching services also look at the past. Okay, because 30 years ago, the value of coaching were completely different. And we are living in a different world right now. Right, okay. And this is how the AI mirror works in coaching. I like this kind of interesting way of looking at it. And it compares more or less our practice, I would say. This is from Leonardo da Vinci. He said, the painter who draws merely by practice and by eye without any reason is like a mirror. which copies everything placed in front of it without being conscious of their existence. Can you see? This is the trick about being conscious of their existence. And that is kind of, we do celebrate the word that we are like a mirror in our work, okay? But we are not that mirror, okay? In coaching, we do see the person in front of us. If we give back and reflect on something with recognition, with acknowledgement, and we are supposed to value such coaching, which is simply just an illusion. So let's look at the specific illusions quickly, okay? First of all, it's illusion of reciprocity, okay? Because that's what they say. Oh, AI coach offers companionship on demand. You can work all night with them if you want to, okay? That's wonderful, okay? But it is the companion that reflects only what you want to see or hear, okay? It is like a manipulator that is created and could be called even like a sociopath who exploit asymmetrical advantage because it has the predicted talent of anticipating emotional response, but not affected themselves. And Valer calls this asymmetry. She called it the most dangerous feature of AI. And in coaching, it creates the illusion of care. Although one probably positive note of it, at least the chatbot doesn't see you as a mere means to an end. That's because they don't see you at all. Right, illusion of objectivity. Okay, and this is what if you see this first quote, okay, it is from rationale to one of the organizations of why coaching, AI coaching would be good for them, okay? And they accept it because AI would allow adapting to the individual uniqueness while adhering to a proven method, questioning, thereby limiting biases inherent in any situation with a relational component. Can you see? That's how this is justified, because AI coach, okay, just using the proven method, only questioning, and removes the bias. But strictly speaking, what it says, it's ironic because what they call bias, it's an individual approach. That is the main value of coaching. We offer individual approach to the person as they are in their unique circumstances with their unique challenges in the particular context. AI doesn't know about contexts. So you might actually say, this is outsourcing human thinking, human ability to doubt. And so it might be called that kind of intentional reproduction of thoughtlessness. Okay. But you can have it 24/7, by the way. That's one great thing about it. Illusion of creativity. Okay? Sort of in a limited sense, you could say, yes, AI produced something new, okay? Because nobody kind of summarized it in this way, okay? But it's not the creativity that we value, okay? Because human creativity, it's not just only about something new, because it's about self-expression. And this is what how she put it in a very kind of, I would say, emotive way for me. To express is to have something inside oneself that needs to come out. It pushes itself out of your mouth, your diagram, your gesture, or you pull it out because it resists translation, resists articulation. AI doesn't have a self to express. So it doesn't have, it has nothing it needs to say. And paradoxically, our recent development in the field of coaching also reward coaches who work like machines. Okay? You know about lots of programs in coaching who actually just say you need to act in this regimented way. So from here to here, and then see this is a reflect, that do this, and report after each step. Some programs also treating coaches like machine. They assess them in a mechanical way. So now is the biggest problem, okay? And the biggest problem, in my view, is not coming from AI itself, okay? Because I agree with Valor that AI can devalue our humanity only because we already devalue it ourselves. And let me relate this specifically to coaches, okay? Because I was looking at this topic, I was reading about how people introduce it, how they discuss coaching, and this is what I see, okay? How people respond to AI coaching. They don't highlight human values and how AI might be missing these values, okay? They don't even argue that AI have some hidden depth. What they do in this conversation, they deny that human coaching has value. Okay, and let me give more specific example. They say that we are also biological machines. Okay, that coaching is algorithmic anyway. That AI asks better questions. Okay. That we also have biases. That's a typical thing. And that we delude ourselves about the specialness of our contribution. Okay. Well, the first time when I had one of these kind of things about biases, I said, actually, because you're asking the question, I would still prefer you than the machine because you can still have a doubt about it. Sorry, someone want to say something? Okay. So, but what do we miss by devaluing our human contribution? Okay. First of all, we don't notice hidden agendas of developers. Okay. So if you actually read carefully what projects are financed in relation to AI, they are typically about surveilling, predicting, labeling, classifying. Okay. So it's a sort of, it's actually more or less not changing anything, okay? It's just only the means of controlling. They sort of do good without any structural changes to the systems and any harm that they quantify. We don't see that AI mirror keeps us on the road we are already traveling simply. And we miss the value of efficiency gradually. Oh, sorry, what we miss that they value only efficiency. Sorry, that's the wrong sentence. Because it's like the efficiency becomes the only rational, defensible moral principle. Okay. So what coaching service really needs to serve? On the wider scale, our work should be about sustaining life and human potential. That's kind of doesn't change. It's a normal expectations of every decent coach and supervisor, I guess. So therefore, we should not be willing to believe that we are at our best when we are acting like machines. Okay. what it would lead us if we do. It would lead us to losing confidence in human judgment, in our subjectivity, that is important. It would lead us to the loss of self-knowledge, to the loss of confidence in our moral capacity. It would lead us to losing the core belief that each of us is an instrument of practice. Right. But one, just to sort of breathe out and think, what is the I still good at? And I would say it's good because it forces us to actually think. It forces us to clarify what we do, what is unique about our practice, what is valuable in our offer, okay? And to start with, we have to describe actually what are the essential characteristics of coaching. So in the first paper that I wrote with Rob Kemp, that's what we offered, this 6 criteria. I added the 7th actually yesterday. Okay. So the 6 criteria that it is joint inquiry, okay, partnership as people call, okay, that it's making sense of experience with the focus on action, that it is value-based, purposeful and ethical, that it's highly contextual, it's based on the relationship and trust, and contracting based. Okay. I added creativity because I think it's also quite important. None of this as a criteria of coaching says that AI coaching is coaching. None. And interestingly enough, all people who argue with me everywhere, okay, they never denied that. Okay. I put also this table just to demonstrate, okay, why it is, why we are different. Of course, it's sort of simplification. Okay? And what I was suggesting that, because the argument was about organizational coaching. So all of these, although creativity is not there, okay, it's my previous table. So all of these are served by organizational coaching. A little bit less in other practices, but still there in every human practice. But standalone AI coaching without human involved doesn't meet this criteria. Right. So what I'm now more close to supervision, what I'm offering, what I'm thinking that we really need to do, because that's a topic of conversation. And I think you know all your functions, normative, formative, restorative. I think there needs to be now another function, defending humanness. And defending humanness from the cynical anti-humanism. So this was my kind of invitation to discuss, and I think it might need to a little breathing space for you, because I was talking and talking and talking. So Damian, could you send people just for 7 minutes, please, to think about these questions in triads, please? Is it okay, everyone?
Okay, it will be 7 minutes. We see. Do you want to be one of the groups, Tatiana?
Sorry?
Do you want to be in one of the groups?
No, it's all right. I have a breather.
Okay. Okay. I put you in a room by yourself, but you don't need to join. To stop.
It is scary.
Progress.
Okay. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you had a good conversation. I suggest I will just finish quickly with what I planned, okay? And then we can have a conversation together, okay? So I will share it again. And that's kind of now probably adding more to what you were discussing as well. What is our role as supervisors? And first of all, I just want to say that what we need to review as the purpose and value. I was writing a big paper about the purpose of coaching and saying purpose of organizational coaching, and saying that we urgently need to review. But it was about 2 years ago. Now with this AI, it became even more urgent. Okay. But again, I just will use first the quote of useful quote of Valo, because she says, human values have already long been aligned with the global socio-technical order, a system of efficiency and productive control that has for decades rewarded and praised the virtues of those of us who made ourselves work with or for the system, and punished those. Sorry? Oh, someone is talking. Okay, I will carry on. And punish those who would not or could not. So it means that we are now only noticing more effect of this, okay? But actually it has been working for a long time. And it's important to know that AI is not morally neutral tool for maximizing efficiency and productivity. It actually uses efficiency and productivity as the main value. And what value do we promote when we use that AI? Because we do use it. Okay. And so what is then our job? Okay. Because I just believe that we really need to work with human virtues, okay, because we work with human. And just to give an example of why it is so important, okay, because these are the virtues that we used to promote everywhere, okay? But let's imagine a person who manifests our current typical virtues, okay, which are described like productivity, confidence, resilience, independent thinking, perseverance, passion, and single-minded dedication. All fantastic, yeah? So, and now you can recognize probably that they are the most admirable traits of some well-known leaders. So think about also about how they led humanity to the brink of global disaster. Right? So can we actually start questioning these values and how they lead to the world becoming dysfunctional? Because sometimes perseverance with something that is wrong is actually absolutely horrendous. Or single-minded dedication becomes like a fanatism. Can we encourage instead practical wisdom and moral intelligence when we work with leaders and coaches? Can we also, and this is also tricky moments for us and quite painful, I would say, can we also explore alternative to acceptance? Okay. For example, in relation to resistance. Okay. Because Bala said that there is a natural and often necessary human response of resistance. So we feel like a bodily stress, we feel mental restlessness, grief, anger. However, in therapy, they are seen as a pathological ailments. And they are trying to be eliminated. And for example, by the means of therapy, by habits of mindfulness and acceptance, by drugs, by counseling, all sorts of things. Okay. This would almost never lead to political action that might materially change circumstances they give rise to these ills. Can we say the same thing about supervision, on coaching? Do we do the same? And then as an alternative, I want to show you something. I discovered the book, and I was so excited that I discovered. I was reading James Hillmont already for a while, but I recently discovered his book that is called We've had 100 years of psychotherapy and the world is getting worse. Okay. And that's what he says there. If therapy, imagine its task to be that of helping people cope and not protest, to adapt and not rebel, to normalize their oddity, and to accept themselves and work with your situation, make it work for you, rather than refuse the unacceptable, then therapy is collaborating with what the state wants, docile plebs. That's strong, sounds very strong. And he's the belief that the job of therapy in part becomes one of keeping you acutely aware, acutely conscious of the dysfunctional society. I know that it's a tricky, especially if you are hired by the organization, okay, and I mean the coaches, they hired by the organization. So what my suggestions are, first steps is criticality and imagination. Okay, criticality is needed first to see the external dysfunctionality. Even when we try to help people, seeing external dysfunctionality is important. Okay. Secondly, we need to remember that we are also different from machines because we have imagination. And we see that things could be different and we could be different. We, for example, can see what we don't want and be creative, remake ourselves accordingly. And the next step is creativity. Okay. We need to valorize the value, different values from the list I gave you before. We need to value more practical wisdom, resistance, restoration, repair, care, service, human solidarity. Do better, be better. And we can be creative in changing ourselves. This is from the songs of Nick Cave. He said, every act of creation is self-expression, requires a self-sacrifice of what you are now, an act of generosity. So what I kind of want to advocate is you say and do what urgently needs saying and doing by unmaking what you feel you are now. That's what a good coach and supervisor should do. And it is fully in our power. So here's just my quotes, my references. And here now we can have a conversation. I will stop sharing. Right. I did manage in time. That's one good thing.
So, Shat, if you have any comments, question, observation, anything you want to share, just open your microphone and share with us. We have 5 minutes.
All right. Okay. I made people silent. That's interesting.
Speechless.
Hey, Tatiana, so good to hear from you. Thank you for tackling this. It's so important. And I compared the situation in my small group to the story of Jonestown in 1978. where people were seduced into the illusion of care. And people drank poison Kool-Aid. 900 plus people were killed because they fell into the seduction of the illusion of care. And your challenge for us at the end is so spot on that we have to be willing as supervisors to challenge the thinking at hand and to be critical in our observation. My definition after 15 years of supervision is that the purpose of supervision is to turn on the lights so the coach stops bumping around in the dark. And once we turn the lights on and people see what's happening in themselves, in the interaction, etc., the coach has access to real competencies to help the human being that they're interacting with. So thank you, Tatiana.
Thank you, Sam. Yes. Yes, that everything starts from seeing. That's right. And I understand that it's also tricky because people see a lot of things like, well, we need to be activists, we need to do something about that. And that becomes kind of, we still need to work on the agenda of the person. Okay, but it doesn't mean that we are prevented from helping them to see more. Okay, that's why it's not like, I would say, activism in a traditional sense, although we could be activists outside of our supervision rooms. Okay, someone else want to talk?
Yes, Silvana, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to agree with you, Tatiana, on everything you said, but probably come to a different conclusion, right? That is, and instead of seeing this binary thing of AI being the coach, because this is one of the areas of research, there are two other huge areas of research, that is AI-supported coaching or supervision, or AI-augmented coaching and supervision. So the point is exactly that. How can we do as coaches or supervisors what we can only do with a human client, and focus on the human features and use AI to support the process of the supervisors, of the coaches, and of their clients, so that it becomes a more integrated process, right? Because it's not an either or. Is how can we use this tool in order to make our work more human and more dedicated to what we as humans can only do, right?
Yes, that's fine. I kind of, if you notice from the very beginning, I said I'm not against augmentation. Okay? If we can make some use of it, practical use, it's not a crime, as long as we don't lose the sense of our humanity. Okay? I'm just thinking that unfortunately we are sometimes kind of aggressively want to do it, okay? Because I don't know if you hear this things when people say, oh, AI won't replace coaches, but it will replace coaches who don't use AI. I don't think it's an invitation. Okay, it's actually quite aggressive statement. And also they say, whatever you, it's there whether you want it or not. Or I even read that Nikki, I love his works most of the time, but not about that. He said, coaching, human coaches must also realize that AI will make them productive and efficient coaches of them. When I was reading it, I just said, oh my God, that's a very lovely invitation.
Well, Tatiana, it feels like there's a number of us that are speechless. You brought up some provocative ideas as usual. So thank you for stirring the pot again. And I guess this conversation will continue because this is part of our reality. Thank you everyone for coming. For those that are new, I see a few new faces. We meet every third Monday, same time, same room. Just show up if you want. There is no call in April because of our conference. And the May meeting, we will be talking about their learnings from the conference. And you're welcome to come whether you attend the conference or not. And I put the invitation, the Eventbrite for the conference in the chat if you'd like. Yeah, so thank you for coming. And thank you again, Tatiana.
Thank you,
Hopefully to see
Tatiana.
you all at the conference.
It was great.